VCR Podcast with your host, Vish.
They're just bastardizing our childhood and the classics.
Chris.
Nintendogs drove me. It's what makes me want to hurt people.
Radical.
People in general still bitch about everything. It still doesn't change.
Let the podcast begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VCR Podcast, the only podcast that predates itself the moment the title is spoken. Adam, aka askcsradical, here with you guys. Vish here. Chris, not here. Not of his own volition, though.
So tonight we're going VR for the time being.
Yeah, apparently, as I said in the Twitch chat for anybody that happened to be hanging around there, I don't know what happened, but it's so bad that somebody must have switched his router out for a Pringles can, and it wasn't even a good flavor of Pringles. So
did he open it and use the aluminum inside to make like a reflecting satellite or something?
I'm assuming no, and that he's just like his router is just like completely buried in sour cream and onion Pringles or something like that. I have no idea.
Oh, those are so good. I love anything sour cream and onion.
All we know is that he is trying his ass off to get in here, so we might see him somewhere later in the stream, hopefully. Otherwise, it's a two-man show for the time being. So otherwise, how you doing, Vish?
Save me.
Save me right. More like I'm the one who's fucked here.
So I guess we'll start with my highlight of the weeks. So I've been watching a few movies. I watched the newest Disney movie, Raya and the Last Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally just okay.
I got the sense from the trailer that it wasn't going to be anything too special, so I'm not surprised.
So I don't know. It's like you watch movies like Frozen, Mulan, Coco, and they leave a lasting impression on you. It's like especially with Coco. Coco, if you have a little girl in your life, Coco has the potential to destroy you emotionally. Like it literally just I remember when I first watched Coco, I'm like, Ozira's cutting the fucking onion. Stop right now.
Yeah, Chris, stop cutting onions.
Stop cutting the fucking
also, welcome.
Honestly, it's all I do. Hello, everyone.
So did you get the Pringles can working?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's
internet sucks sometimes.
I'm telling you, you got to switch out the container. Stop using the sour cream and onion Pringles can. I know Vish likes them, but stop using that can and get the Wendy's Baconator Pringles can.
No.
You'll get better internet. Proven.
He can use the can. I just want the chips. That's all.
Yeah, I really like the sour cream and onion. Those are mine.
So
shit.
Raya and the Last Dragon. Visually, it's beautiful. It's very forgettable in my opinion. It's like you watch it and then you'll just go on upon your day and never remember it. It's not that they didn't try. It's not that they didn't put effort into it. It's nothing that special. The cast was good. Awkwafina was a lot of fun. I just thought it was really nothing special, in my opinion. The other thing I watched this week, I have to say, to the Oscars, they actually put real diversity this year. Like, I was shocked. Like, I was legitimately surprised. I was legitimately like, and don't get me wrong, as I mentioned before, and I'll keep saying it, the talent is what matters the most. But the fact is, the old guard of the Academy would never give diversity a chance. They would probably look over someone and be like, yeah, he's good, but you know what? He's not, I don't like the way he looks.
The thing I worry, though, is that because there was almost nothing to judge from this year, that's going to be their excuses. Like, look, we're doing it now, and then the next year will happen, and all their buddies are going to be back in the films all over again. They'll be like, well, we can't not put these people up for awards again. Meryl Streep's got to at least have 7 nominations as usual.
That is true. My only concern is if Chadwick wins, it's going to be the Heath Ledger situation. Like,
to which I say, who fucking cares? It's an award. It's arbitrary. People need to stop caring about that.
Yeah. So I watched one movie called The Sound of Metal. It's with Riz Ahmed. He's one of the guys nominated for Best Actor. He is the first South Asian person to be nominated for Best Actor. And The Sound of Metal is about he's a heavy metal drummer who starts losing his
I was about to
hearing.
be really disappointed if it had nothing to do with heavy metal. I was waiting for that title being like, if it's
Yeah,
not
I was
about
going
metal,
to
I'm going to be
as well.
pissed.
No, I actually think you'd like this movie.
Probably, because at least it's up my valley.
Yeah. So he's a heavy metal drummer who is aggressively losing his hearing. And it's very heartbreaking. It's very soul crushing the way it's happening. He ends up having to learn to do sign language with children because he got deaf at such an advanced age. He has to go basically learn it like he's a child.
I'm suddenly less interested in this movie because now it sounds like I'm going to be depressed. I don't know if I want that.
No. It actually does. Like, majority of it has some like hopeful moments. There is a lot of soul crushing, depressing moments because he goes into this community where they treat being deaf is not a disability. It's just a way of life. It's just the way their life is, which frankly makes sense because if someone's deaf and born deaf, that's how they live. That's how their life is. It's not a disability to them. Getting their hearing back, that actually becomes a disability to them because they have to learn how to hear. So majority of the movie is hopeful. Majority of the movie is heartwarming. I don't think he's gonna win Best Actor, personally. I just personally don't think it's as fantastic of a job as he did. I just don't think the caliber is there for him to win it. If he does, amazing. I don't think so, but that's
I think the nomination's
really
more important than the win, to be honest. Because the win is so arbitrary. Because I mean, we don't know if it's completely biased, right?
Yeah, and
True.
I think I'm just really happy with right now that the Oscars they legitimately have real diversity this year. This isn't just like one or two people. Like, there was legit diversity, and it's cool to see Glenn from Walking Dead being the first Asian American nominated. I think
Yeah,
these
it's
are
cool. Just do it next year too. When there's actual like a full release list of movies, do it next year.
Don't let this year just be a one-off. Please keep this going. Let people get used to this because frankly, they need to. So I'll go in alphabetical order. Chris, what have you been up to?
Wait a
If
minute.
we're going alphabetical, you're last.
I'm aware.
And Adam starts with A. Wait, but is he radical? I'm confused. CS radical?
Oh, I'm
Or is it
radical,
both C?
all right.
Oh, I'm so lost now alphabetically.
Well, we might as well
so
go
yeah,
with
I
you
guess
now
I'll
because
go.
for all we know, your internet's going to die again. So we better do this just to be careful.
Yeah. Just kidding. So I haven't played. Well, I've played a lot, but I haven't played a lot of games because I'm playing through some bigger ones. Actually, there's only two. So I've got my highlight and then the other one I'm playing. The other one I've been playing, which was a trip down memory lane, and I've been working on it since 2014. The original Final Fantasy VII. It was the first Final Fantasy released on Steam. I was playing it back in 2014. I actually looked at my achievements. That's why I know all this. I played it in 2014, then played it a little bit in 2015, then played it a little bit in 2017. But I made it to like disc 2, and I just would play so little at a time. I saw it on Switch. It was like $5, and I'm like, if I have this portably, I will play the crap out of it. And I did, and I finally beat that this morning in bed.
How many hours did you put into it?
This second time, 35 hours, but the Switch version is the same version that's on PS4, and it has a 3x speed option. So it speeds up the game from like, the grinding. I left it on for everything. There was the odd dungeon where it's like you have to like go up a bit and then go left, and I'd have to turn it off because I would just like zoom past it. But it made grinding, story. The only thing that went at normal speed was like the menus, cutscenes, like that kind of stuff. But man, the whole game was just going fast. And my original thing was, well, I'm already on disc 2 on PC, and I want to just get caught up to that. I'll do ×3 speed just till I get caught up. Then I got caught up. I'm like, there's no way in fuck I'm turning this off and going back to like 20 frames per second. Hell's no. And like I left it on and just zoomed through the whole thing. Yeah, so that was a fun trip through all of my nostalgia, because it's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but obviously it was a huge Final Fantasy to play through back in the day. So that was pretty cool.
It was
That was also my thing. I would play this, and by the time I'm
But,
finally done it, I'll play the remake. But then they announced the remake was getting the PS5 edition in June. So I'm like, all right, I'll just take it, until June to play the old one. But then I beat it this morning and I was like, fuck. Now I want to play the remake. So I
it's
got
only
Yeah, exactly.
but on the remake it's only the first half, am I correct?
Not even close to that. Yeah.
Fuck.
See, I already paid
so
for the
with
game,
the
but they announced the PS5 upgrade, so I want to wait for that. Yeah, true.
when
Well, I
did
mean, I
the
paid
so the
not full
first
price, but I think. Sorry, go ahead.
the first half, when does it end? Like, have you guys heard of
it's
when
not-
it ends? Like,
This isn't the first half. This is going to be at least a 3-parter for the remake. At least 3.
Oh, so it's gonna be 3 part. It's gonna be like disc 1, disc 2, disc 3, not part 1, part 2.
Because the first remake part 1 is the first 6 hours of the game. It's only like 1/3, I would say, of disc 1. Honestly, if they went this route, it would take like 9 chapters of remakes to get through it. I don't think they're going to do it that way. That's true. That is true. But oddly enough, this isn't even my highlight because, I mean, I'd be talking about the original Final Fantasy again. So I figured I wouldn't do that. My highlight is actually, I went back finally to Assassin's Creed Valhalla because I kind of put that to the side because I was like, I can't do Tales of Vesperia and Assassin's Creed at the same time. That's just too much intense big games. So I was kind of like, focus on one big game, some side stuff, go back to Assassin's Creed when you're done. So I've gone back and I've been playing a shit ton of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm like 70 hours in. And oddly enough, I checked my stats. I'm only at 54% game completion. So that was a little like fucking kick in the face right there. Because there's no way I'm not doing every side quest and getting every piece of gold and wealth and everything that's on the map. Like, fuck. I have to admit, because when I was playing it at the very, very beginning, I was a little like, this is okay. I'm not a big fan, especially in Norway. It was all snow. The combat felt a little weird compared to Odyssey. It didn't feel the same. Like, I can't even explain what it was. It's just like, as I pressed the buttons, the combat just felt different. And I'm sure they just changed or tweaked some stuff, but I don't know. It didn't feel right at first. Somehow through playing, I'm not only used to the combat, I actually like am in love with the game. I actually like it just as much as Odyssey, but for different reasons. Odyssey doesn't really feel like an Assassin's Creed game at all. That game just feels like an Odyssey about Greece back in the day and all that kind of stuff. This actually feels like an Assassin's Creed game again. The assassins are in it. The Order of the Ancients are a big part, who are the Templars and everything. But not just that, like, you go to England and there's some story stuff that happens, some side stuff that's actually connected to the other games and some other stuff, which is pretty cool. But really, it's just the gameplay, the location, and definitely the fucking Viking thing. Everything about the Viking thing is just like really awesome right now. Like, you go to an area, normally in Odyssey, it'd be like, all right, I have to collect these 3 things in this village. And then I would leave and, you do your thing. And it's like, oh, it's a restricted area. They'll attack on sight. You go in there and you don't feel like assassinating everybody. You just press a button, select raid, you pull out your giant horn, and literally your longship of your crew pulls up and you burn the village down. I'm not talking like they show up and help you fight. One of the things they do, because everything's made of wood, is they throw torches on every building and burn the fucker to the ground. And it's like, yep, no, this was awesome. I very much enjoyed this. I don't know. It's weird because you're playing the hero. Yeah, it's the fuck you button, and I love it. There's still some like big guys there that take a lot of hits or and stuff like that, but I have it set to easy just because I know it's already going to take me 140 hours with it on easy compared to having much difficulty thrown in there. So I was like, fuck it, I don't care. But that fuck you button would be very, very, very helpful in certain areas. And oh man, just like watching everybody come in and start burning it. It's weird because you're the hero of the game, but you're like literally pillaging and destroying villages just to get like a piece of assassin armor. No, and they kind of throw it into the story where Ivor, who's the main character, will be like, oh, like it'll give you a choice and you can choose to be like, oh, I don't feel right about that. But then 3 seconds later, you're literally burning a village down because you're like pissed off at a king. It's like, I feel like the thing that just happened, you've ignored that and done this instead. Like you're a Viking and you're just gonna stick with that. So yeah. I think that's why. So in this game, and I won't give away anything like really spoilery, but in this one, at least as far as I've played, the assassins and everything are included, but they went more the Odyssey way, where you're somebody who's there. You deal with the assassins, you deal with the Order of the Ancients, but like you're not like starting the game and you're an assassin and you're like a part of the Creed, because it wouldn't. Yeah, because Ezio wouldn't be like, oh man, all right, time to fucking burn Italy to the ground. Like he just wouldn't do it. Even though Ezio's family was hung right in front of him in Assassin's Creed 2. And he was like, oh, I should join a creed and be a good person. Ivor would be like, well, fucker's got to burn down now. Like everybody I know is dead. Yeah, everything is permitted. Yeah. Oh, Assassin's Creed, I love you. But yeah, like the actual game itself, they even did like cool mythological stuff, and I was wondering how they were going to handle it, because all the Assassin's Creed games are very much in reality, with just the fact that like humans were made by the Isu, like another group of people, like another civilization before us, and Adam and Eve were real, and there's apples of Eden, but they're actually just a piece of technology. Like they went on almost Scientology, which is a little weird. Yeah, but like in a fun way. But they've still been grounded in reality. Here, you actually get to go to Asgard and go to Jotunheim, the frost giants area.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Does this one have mythological elements in this game?
Yes, but in order for it to still be like, no, you're like a Viking in reality, and you get to go to Asgard. To make it happen, you have to collect certain herbs. You drink something which makes you hallucinate and fall asleep. And during your vision, you are in Asgard, but it's a whole other map that you can explore and do.
So it's not like it's taking place IRL. It's like you're in an alternate dream reality where the mythological.
Yeah, it seems more like, I'm sure they're gonna, like, they seem to always do this. Like they did this with Odyssey and stuff, where a lot of the characters that are like mythological beings were actually just a member of the Isu. Or it's like, oh no, that was just this Isu's pet. That's Cerberus. That was the dog that has 3 heads. That's just the Isu's pet. It's just what happens. Like they kind of just made it like it's from that ancient civilization to get rid of it, or to like connect it in a way where it's not like, oh no, humans have always had these mythological creatures. It's totally fine. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it's good. It's great. I don't know, like it's just, I'm really enjoying it again, and I was worried I was going to get worn out from Assassin's Creed. But you know, I'm back in it, and I'm loving it all over again. I'm worried it's still, there's like so much to do still, so I'm worried I'm going to be like, fuck, like now what? Like I don't want to get burnt out, but I was able to put in like 35 hours or 40 hours this month along with other games, and I'm still like wanting to go back. So great game. Highly suggested. Adam, you'll get to play it once we finally do that PlayStation share thing we're supposed to be doing that we forgot about.
Yeah, months ago.
Yeah, exactly. So you can absolutely play it if you want.
I realized
I highly
I muted
suggest it.
myself for maybe a minute, so there might have been an exchange there where I said something and you just responded to nobody, so who knows? But hey, it's been a tech issue podcast, so what's the fucking surprise at this point?
And we have the title of tonight's episode.
Yeah, no shit. So I guess that just leaves me. Well, aside from Enter the Gungeon, which I obviously played just before the stream started, I've been getting back into Saints Row 3 Remastered, finally. Which has been...
nice.
Speaking of nostalgia, that's been a bit of a blast. It's still a game that was definitely made almost 10 years ago. Like, it controls the same. It's not like they did anything revolutionary to change that. But at least in terms of how it looks, it's completely different. Like, it's so much sharper. The character models have been completely changed over. It's really weird streaming it, though, and not having the music because it's all licensed music, so I can't play it. So there was a lot of times where I'm just driving endlessly with no sound. It's just like a slight... So it was a little weird. But in terms of just going back and playing through it all over again, like it's still the same kind of fun that it used to be. And I have kind of like an extra love for some of the cutscenes now that I know exactly what happens. And now I'm just goofing around with it. Like, literally all my crew members are now dressed up as ninjas.
When you played it originally, how many
they are.
hours did you put into it?
I couldn't tell you. I don't fucking remember. Like, probably 20, 30, 40, something around that. But I mean, realistically, it's an open world game. I probably finished the entire map, so. I mean, it's if you haven't played a Saints Row game before, it's pretty much what you expect out of it. It's just a GTA game on drugs. Like, it's just, if Grand Theft Auto decided to be a comedy game, like, that's pretty much what Saints Row is in a nutshell. Like, it's just constant jokes, constant referencing, constant just wacky shit. Like, and especially when it comes to your character creator, you can do some stupid, dumb fucking shit with your character that's just hilarious. Like, not even just with how it looks. There's some taunts you can give it. So you can get, like, some, oh yeah, here's some TNA for the stream, I guess. But, like, even the taunts alone, like, there's crazy stuff, too, where, like, you can get, like, wrestling taunts. You can get taunts where you're just, like, crotch chopping constantly. Like, it definitely makes no bones about it that it's just a full-on, like, just absolute, like, dick and fart jokes kind of level Grand Theft Auto game. And it makes no bones about that stuff. With every cliche in the book and then some stuff that you have no idea what's coming.
Is it, like, M-rated, like,
oh, yeah.
Moments M-rated? Oh.
100%. Like, you can pretty much have, like, just tape over your nips, and that's pretty much like the closest to nudity you get in that game. You can be nude in the game, but it's just it gives you the old censorship bars. But
the censor, that's amazing.
But like in terms of like your standard GTA, it's almost like an arcadey GTA, just with like the weaponry, the way it controls. There's a little more like messing around with it. Like it's nothing special at this point now, and it is an older game. It definitely feels like an older game. Like it feels like a game that was made in like 2011. So it's really the kind of game that, like, if you're going into it thinking it's like a brand new game, you're going to be disappointed. Sorry, what was that, Vish?
PS4 gen or PS3 gen?
PS3, Xbox 360 gen. It started.
Oh, okay. Just the tail end of it.
Yeah, so it still controls like an. I don't think tail end. I think it might be midway, but either way, it still controls like an older game. So I mean, it's not a game that's going to be super like revolutionary controls. You're not going to sit there and be like, oh man, this is really smooth. It's old as shit, and it shows it. But it's still the charm that kind of gets past it, and it is a remaster, so it's more just the graphical change than it is anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you pick this up on that sale you had mentioned on the PlayStation Store? That's a really good deal. Like,
yeah, it was a pretty good price. Like, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. If I didn't have other big games already in my backlog, I would have jumped on this immediately when you sent that. Because this is a game that's been on my wish list forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's something fun to pop into. I'm probably going to end up finishing it on stream probably this weekend at the rate I'm playing it, because apparently I'm already 50% the way through, because I've just been bum rushing the story now because I don't need to complete the map because I don't care that much anymore. Because I mean, what am I trying to complete here? I'm not a platinum guy, so it really means nothing to me now. Now there's no point in me exploring everything. Now it's just like, hey, let's enjoy what the story is. instead of, doing every freaking little thing on the map to try to complete it. Now I don't need to do that, especially now that I'm streaming, and I'm like, I would like to move on to other games at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
But even then, I don't think it's like a super long game if you try to go the completionist route. I think it's like maybe like a 50-60 hour run if you try to do like that. Because it doesn't take too long to run through everything. Like, the map's not huge. You can do a lot of stuff pretty quick, so... But I mean, otherwise, it's just been fun to get back into it and kind of get that nostalgia going again. Because I miss these games. Like, I was telling you guys in the Discord, especially Vish, because Vish needs to play the series, because I don't think he has it all. The fourth game, which is the complete, like, all the DLCs in there, and it's like $5, which is a steal for that. Especially the fourth game, because it basically ends up becoming like a superhero game, and it's just so wacky over the top. Like, 1 to 3 still is very GTA. 4 throws that out the fucking window and just lets you be Superman.
So 4 is like a comedy Grand Theft Auto / superhero game.
Yes. Which I feel bad
Holy
because
fuck.
somebody worked really hard on the vehicle customization in Saints Row 4, and it's almost pointless because you can just fly everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, there would be no point.
I felt so
It's
bad.
like giving a car to Spider-Man in the Spider-Man game.
I mean, I'd take a spider car.
A spider car?
Can Spider Cat drive it?
Oh, see, then yeah, I'm fucking in there in seconds. Like,
then we're using it. That's the
Honestly,
fast.
why can't I play the game just as a cat?
That's the fast travel system. You get into a taxi, and it's a Spider Cat driving the taxi. I like this idea. Sony,
we gotta.
I'm on Twitter. CS Radical on Twitter.
Bro.
Hit me up. I got all these great ideas. But anyways,
I love it.
yeah, it's just been a fun little aside. And for a first stream game, it doesn't demand too much of my attention, so it is easy to kind of shoot the shit with and just kind of have a blast. It is a little bit frustrating on the AI. The AI can be really, really fucking stupid at times. Again, it's a 360 PS3 game. Shocking that AI wasn't that great. I mean, AI still isn't that great sometimes now, so what do you expect? But yeah, it is what it is. It's more there for the nostalgia value than anything else, and I won't complain at that point. So, what's the first thing we want to take a crack at? You know what? Let's go with the easy one. Bethesda's now a Microsoft property, officially.
Yeah.
And to the point that Sony or Nintendo won't ever see anything that isn't already contractually obligated to be on those systems ever again. Which is interesting because I don't think this has ever happened before to this scale.
This is a big scale. Yeah, I don't think anything's happened like this to this scale.
Like, we've seen companies get purchased and been made a first party thing for a company, but it wasn't Bethesda size. Like, it was either indie studio or small studio sized.
Yeah, or it was like Insomniac, where they were primarily making games for PlayStation anyways, so PlayStation buying them, it made sense.
Guys, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can tell you feel really sick. Do you need to take off?
Yeah, I'm going. I think I have to tonight.
Yeah, that's fine, dude. No, it's cool. If you're feeling like shit,
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, cheers.
All right, good night.
Cheers, man.
We got tech issues both in the internet and in the body, apparently. Just one of those days.
Maybe what Vishal has, my internet had.
Oh, damn. Is that bug transferable? Shit. But yeah, going back to Bethesda. I said this on the my podcast yesterday, the Pixel Play podcast, for those who don't know about it. I really don't like this. And it's not because I'm selfish and being I want to play Fallout on PlayStation. It's not necessarily that. It's the idea that we're talking not just one or two series of games. We're talking a massive number of titles that are suddenly locked behind something. And that includes PC players too. Steam players won't get Fallout or Skyrim or anything like that ever again. So it's weird, but I mean, it's also the problem that I have with monopolization in general. I don't like the fact that these big companies are getting bought out. I mean, hell, here in Canada, we just saw another one of our telecom companies, Shaw, get bought out by Rogers, which is the biggest one in the country. And that means more people are going to have to choose between basically the big tech guys, which is bullshit. And the same is going for the games industry. 100%. What's the equivalent? Does Sony buy Square? Does Nintendo buy Capcom? What happens? How much deeper does this go before it gets ridiculous?
Yeah, and it's I have a scary feeling that this is just the beginning. That because of this one, other companies are now looking, maybe doing something similar so they can lock themselves in for the future, like kind of for a security thing. I don't know, but I don't know, it's terrifying.
I mean, we'll know in the next couple of years because either some of these companies will get bought out, or we'll see Xbox eventually cave and put games like, say, Elder Scrolls 6 for multiple devices. Because here's the question. Right now, as to my knowledge, I think last time we checked, it was like 90 million Xbox Live accounts. Not Xbox Game Pass users, Xbox Live accounts. 90 million. So at 90 million, let's assume they're all Game Pass, because if you put all these things day one on Game Pass, because that's the thing too, they're probably going to put them day one on there. We're talking, what, 10, 15 bucks a month? If your customer base is 90 million people, that's not a lot of money.
No.
So if you're Bethesda, or even if you're Microsoft, do you not look at a game like Elder Scrolls 6 and go, should we really lock it behind our doors and forego another like hundreds of millions of customers that will easily buy this game because that'll be like the biggest game of the year when it gets released?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate question. We don't have an answer to that because we haven't seen that first game put on the list that's coming down the road. So we won't know until it happens. It's just that kind of thing where it's like, where does it go? Where do they go with it? What decisions do they make? And how greedy did they decide to get?
Yeah. I'm also not overly convinced that the games will be locked only to, say, Xbox or Game Pass or any device where Game Pass is available, I think is like kind of what they were saying.
I mean, they say it now, but again, like how much pressure will it take for them to change that, right?
Yeah. And like, if you think about it, Cuphead was actually supposed to be a Microsoft exclusive. It ended up on Switch, and then they eventually let it on PlayStation.
So for all we know, it could be like 6 months, could be a year, could be 2 years. Like, you feel like at some point it probably would eventually get released otherwise.
I am almost 100% convinced it will get released on other platforms if you say something like Elder Scrolls 6. Because even just Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a first-party Microsoft game. It's on Game Pass day one, blah, blah, blah. But it was also released on Steam day one. And then I think 6 months later after each game, they released them on Nintendo Switch, which is not a Microsoft platform. There's no Game Pass on there. And it was a first-party Microsoft game. Because if you think about it, anybody who wants to play it day one on Game Pass or Steam or wherever it may be, sure, they'll get it day one. But then 6 months later, the hype for the game dies down a bit. You throw it on something like Nintendo Switch. Now the hype comes back up. People buy it. I feel like they'll do the same practice with Elder Scrolls, Doom, that kind of stuff. They'll be on Xbox day one, Game Pass day one, which is a huge deal for sure. But then 6 months, a year later, the hype dies down. How do you get people reinvigorated in that game? Boom, you release it on PS5. Nintendo Switch or Steam or whatever it is.
Because like monetarily, it'd be such a loss. Like my co-host on the Pixel Playcast, Kalen, he brought up the fact that apparently the first 24 hours of Fallout 4, they made $750 million.
Wow. If
you limit yourselves to one platform, I mean, realistically, it's two because it's the PC. I really don't count mobile because it's not a console. It's just streaming. It's not really anything different. But like, you're really limiting yourself to one platform. Do you really want Fallout 5 to only be on one platform when you know you can get almost $1 billion the first day if you let it go everywhere? Like, I know that Microsoft's going to want it to be there first, but money still talks a lot to shareholders too.
Yes.
That's going to be the interesting question. I feel like they'll try it on the first occasion. I don't know what game that is. Apparently, there's a rumor going around that it might be Starfield because they might be secretly almost close to being finished. That's the rumor going around right now, that it might be out this year or very early next year. That's the rumor going around. Crazy. So it might be that.
Yeah.
So who knows? But it really just comes down to, like, they can time it if they want, but I can't imagine them being only Xbox, especially for something as big as Fallout or Elder Scrolls or even Doom. I mean, I guess you could maybe do it with Dishonored. I think you could get away with it with that. You might be able to get away with it with Wolfenstein. But if you're talking Fallout, like, This is the thing. This isn't taking a franchise that either didn't exist or was really like under the radar and then making it big on Xbox. You're taking something that was big everywhere and now gating it. Because this isn't the same thing. Like, obviously, if Gears of War suddenly became a multi-platform franchise, it would get bigger and bigger, but it did start as an Xbox property. This is now going the other way around. This is going from multi-platform massive series to one. And I don't know how much precedent there is for that. Because I'm 100%. Trying to think.
Yeah,
I don't know if that example exists before Bethesda of something of that, like, that caliber.
Definitely not that caliber.
Like, the closest thing would be Tomb Raider, and they were still timed.
Yeah, timed, yeah. Yeah, and that was only one game. It's not like even it was the whole franchise or anything, I don't think.
Like, off the top of my head, the closest I can think of is the MLB, like, branded series being on PlayStation. And that's a sports game. And it's not even the biggest sports game. It's not like FIFA or Madden. So it's still not even like the highest of echelons. I don't know if that example exists because every example that I'm coming up with was started somewhere else. Like Final Fantasy started on Nintendo, but then moved to Sony and then solely became like multi-platform. But we never saw one that was everywhere and then suddenly became one.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I can't think of a single franchise, even or company especially, but even just a franchise where that happened.
I mean, there are probably lots of companies, but they're smaller on the chain that we're not going to think of them off the top of our head because we can't think of them up there with a Bethesda. Like I said, the equivalent is like a Square or a Capcom. I don't know if EA would ever do it because who would want to buy EA right now? Actually, who am I kidding? There's always somebody ready to... Disney could just be like, hey, EA, you want to be ours too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and they'd just be like, cool, sure, whatever. I think Phil Spencer, when he was talking about this, he was pretty smart with what he said, because he said, like, if, we want to bring it exclusively to places where Game Pass is, on a platform. So it was like PC and Xbox, and that builds up the hype and the panic that if you don't have one of those two things, to go out and get one, because these games are going to be there. However, he then said, except where we have, contract obligations.
Yeah, like Deathloop, for example.
Yeah, Deathloop. Or legacy communities or something like that. It was like he said something where a game has a legacy in a specific platform.
I think he's talking like games that already are out and moving, like Elder Scrolls Online, for example. I think that's what he might be referring to.
Maybe. I don't know. I felt like when I heard that, I was like, he could be kind of just throwing in one sentence where it's like, oh, no, it's just Elder Scrolls has always been on PlayStation, so we're going to put it there now that it's been out for a while. It's like, oh, you said it was only going to be exclusive. No, I said anything about legacy. See? Look, legacy. Like, I don't know. It's just, it seems like too much money lost to put it in one spot, unless they are really hoping that people are going to go out and buy 110,000 Xboxes or PCs or something.
Well, and what I said on the podcast yesterday was that, honestly, if this is going to be even remotely factorable, Xbox Game Pass has to have 150 million plus, period. Like, that's the only way you can even make it somewhat interesting, because Netflix, I think, is like over 200 million.
Yeah.
So, especially if we're talking video games, because, again, movies on Netflix can be one thing, because most movies get sold at $20, $25. We're talking $70, $80 titles. So there's a lot of money being lost if you're... I'm sure they'll be releasing it on Xbox, but I mean, if it comes out the day one it's on Game Pass, unless you're a real dumb fuck digitally, or just somebody who likes collecting physical copies, you would get the Game Pass version because it's cheaper. It's paying a monthly fee rather than paying $80.
100%.
So if they straight up say, like, hey, this game will be out for PC, or not for PC, for Game Pass, maybe a Game Pass PC as well, but for Game Pass, day one, if you have no intention of buying physical, then you get Game Pass. It's that simple, which means every copy that gets sold, you're now losing $50+ that you would have not gotten before. So in order to make Game Pass work, and I wonder if that's what Microsoft's goal is just to get every gamer out there to have Game Pass, whether it's PC or Xbox, if they can afford both consoles. But their goal is to, like, try to get as many Xbox Game Pass users as possible to justify the gating of all these games and putting them out day one on a digital service, because they just have such a massive load of people paying $10-15 a month every month. But even then, I
100%
don't
think
know if
that's
it
their goal.
works. I don't know if that's going to be possible because there's a lot of people that, to our community's detriment, are so fucking one-sided that they'll refuse to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there is. 100%.
So it may backfire.
Yeah, it's a pretty, like, it's a, yeah, like it's, I don't know. I don't know their strategy because there's so many ways they could go. And like, it sounds like they're trying this one first, but I mean, I guess the good thing is if it's failing, they can be like, oh, fuck it, put everything on everything. Sorry, we were kidding. And then they still get 70% of the cut of every game they put out there after the fact.
Yeah.
So they still make a ton of money. Yeah, maybe they're just trying something, and if it fails, then hopefully then they try it, go back to the old way, and then everybody will be okay. And by that point, the game will be a little bit cheaper, and everybody can buy it that way too.
And realistically too, like, this is only Microsoft's problem. Bethesda's got their money now. They don't have to do shit. So for Bethesda, this is great for them because now there's no they don't got to worry about shit. They're contractually in there. They're going to get their money. Doesn't matter whether it's on Game Pass or not. So they're fine. Yep. They did exactly what they should do.
Oh yeah, you can't fault Bethesda in this.
No.
like, oh, here's this money. Okay,
and that's kind of the worry that you said earlier is like, do some companies see that and go, okay, now we can just get our money and not have to worry about how many copies we sell.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, if they're going to do that, they'll probably have to go to the Microsoft route because I don't think Sony gives a shit enough to really do anything with PlayStation Now because I think even they've commented already being like, yeah, we have no intention of beefing up like that. Yeah. And I mean, we already saw it. They just opened a new second-party studio with, what's her name, Jade Raymond for Haven.
Yeah.
Seems like they're more interested in just creating studios than they are just buying up things and just blocking it, which is fine to me. I'd rather you make new experiences than rather just leech off of what already exists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I do secretly want them to buy Square, Atlas, and Falcom so I don't have to worry about all my JRPGs being locked. So it does go both ways. Which, by the way, another side route, because I just said Atlas. There's a rumor that Persona series might go to Xbox. And I said this on Twitter. How fucking irritated will Nintendo Switch owners be if Xbox gets Persona 5 and they still don't, even though they have the sequel in Persona 5 Strikers, where you kind of need to play Persona 5 to know what the fuck's going on.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand that move. Even if you got to downgrade the graphics a lot, like I guess maybe they can't get Persona 5 to run.
There's no way you can't get Persona 5 to run. There's no way. It worked for PS3.
Okay, yeah, you can get it to run. Yeah, you can definitely get that to run. I don't know.
It's the same thing of how for a while, I think Switch has finally got all the Trails of Cold Steel games properly, except 4. I think 4 was delayed on their end, but I think they have 1 and 2 now. But they had 3 for a moment and didn't have anything else. Mass Effect was the same way. 3 was put on PS3, and then they forgot to put the other 2 on ahead of time. Yeah. Like, it's just some stuff like that where I'm like, guys, how fucking stupid can you be?
Yeah, people kind of want to start at the beginning sometimes.
Yeah,
especially with like Persona.
Not to mention, I'm pretty sure most Switch users probably didn't own a PS4 and play like Persona 5. I'm willing to bet that most Nintendo gamers probably don't own multiple consoles because I've seen Nintendo fanboys, they're pretty loyal.
Oh, they're very loyal.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of multi-platform users, but I find Switch users are very keeping their loyalty strong and not doing much else. So,
yeah,
I may be full of shit. I have no idea, but it's just kind of what I figure.
Yes, you are.
No. Either way, it's kind of dumb to lock or to not have a game that you kind of need story-wise to understand the other game that you have on your system. It's kind of silly.
100%. Yeah, it doesn't. I've seen that in multiple cases.
And it's usually Switch, oddly enough.
Think of one right now. Yeah, it's yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought Nintendo was for gamers, guys. You know, the company that doesn't release a lot of games every year for you guys and then never gives you good sale prices. Yeah, I thought they were all for gamers. I'm trying really hard not to hate on Nintendo, but they make it really easy, you know?
Yes, they do. They really, really do. Nintendo is that company where they give you like a little bit, but like you really wanted this much, and they give you like this, and you have to You have to just take it because they're not willing to budge.
And take it from us. This is coming from a guy who owns a Switch and a guy who really wants one still because he wants to play the shit out of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when it comes to Switch, I've wanted just achievements in games. I like everything else has them. Nintendo could Nintendo-fy them. They could be like stickers or stamps or something. Like, oh, I earned a stamp in my game. And they won't do anything. Like they just won't join what Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation is doing. It's already built into all these games. Just like,
But
like,
Chris, we got
so
another
many
Smash
things.
character coming. And there's a 50% chance it'll be from Fire Emblem.
It's just gonna be a game cart of Fire Emblem. That's all that's left.
Side question. I don't know if we've said this on the show, but what does Super Smash Brothers do on its next game? If your current game is literally everything, what do you do for the next one?
Yeah, there's a rumor, or there was a quote from, I can't remember his name, the creator of Smash Brothers.
What,
He's
Sakurai?
also the creator. Yeah. He was saying that this one has been that big and difficult for him to do that it might be the last one.
That won't sit well with
Or-
Nintendo fans.
No. But I mean, if they come out with a new system, I feel like at least for one more generation, it'll be just the port of this one updated, and then they'll keep going with it. Kind of like it'll be more like, you're just getting the same game, and then maybe they'll add a couple more characters or something, but you're not getting a new game next time.
Because that was the thing.
Which-
As soon as they said, "Oh, here's everything at the start of the game," I'm like, "Oh, you guys have put yourselves in a real hard corner now."
Yeah. That'd be difficult.
I mean, the only way around it is you'd have to change the format of Smash. That's the only way. Like, if you have to change the character sets out, you can't just have like the same battle system. You have to do something completely different. And the problem with that is people wouldn't like that either. So you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, they're screwed. Honestly, a port would probably be the only thing to keep people happy.
And that probably wouldn't help either. They'd just be like, well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
cool, but we want new Smash.
Yeah. There's Smash, but like a new level? Question mark?
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Moving on. Just a funny story. So it came out that somebody figured out how to reduce GTA Online's like loading times. And it was the dumbest thing ever. It was the most, like, literally in his words, he went, "How did nobody catch this over 7 years?" Which tells you that Rockstar clearly didn't give a shit and just loved making money off of shark cards.
Oh yeah, because nobody was like, people were complaining about it, but no one was not logging in and buying shark cards and shit because of it.
Yeah. Like, to dumb it down as best as I can, there was basically a single 10 megabyte file in the code where it would, I assume it's all the items that you can buy in the store, not like with currency, but like the in-game currency, like I guess all the t-shirts and stuff. So it was a list. But every time it would find one item, it would refresh the entire list to check through it all again. So if you have 6,000 items in the thing, I'm just making up a random number here. So if you have 6,000 items in the store, every time you check one off, it has to refresh the entire list, find the next thing, refresh the entire list. Like, it was this ridiculously long process. And as soon as he fixed it so that once he realized that every item in that list was unique and didn't need to be double checked for copies, he completely got rid of that. He tweaked a couple other things, but that was the main one. He reduced the times by 70%. He went from like 6 minutes to a minute and a half. Which to most of us is probably like going from 20 minutes to 5. Still takes forever.
Yes, I waited.
But now we can't have a nap anymore. So maybe some people are disappointed.
I did like those GTA naps.
But it's crazy that it took that long for somebody to A, figure it out, and B, it was so simple a fix. And he even said in his own words, "Oh, believe me, like a dev of Rockstar's caliber on their team could fix this in a day, easy, no problem." And now it's actually being done. And Rockstar was actually nice enough to give the guy $10,000 for their bug report thing. It hasn't even nothing to do with it. It just, they felt like, okay, well, this is a big enough thing that we'll throw that your way. I hope somebody like gives this guy a shout out and see if like they can hire him on, because he seems like a smart fucking guy.
Yeah,
that might be the saving grace. That guy might have a job now down the road.
Yeah, true. I did have more of an appreciation for Rockstar once I saw that they actually reached out to this guy and paid him because of what happened. Because I know there's some companies out there, I don't know who they are, probably EA, that would just like not do that.
If they didn't and fixed it, that would get a lot of attention. If they did nothing, that would piss people off too. So they had. I don't think they did it out of the goodness of their heart. I think they did it knowing they probably would have shot themselves in the foot if they didn't. Because somebody just fixed an almost decade-long problem that people were bitching about endlessly, and he put it out there. So like everybody knew who it was. And if they found out that Rockstar just changed it and nothing came of it, there would have been a lot of bad PR. Then again, it's Rockstar and GTA 5. I don't think it's going to affect shard car sales, but
no, probably not.
They're still going to make $1 million a fucking day, but
fuck, that game makes so much money.
But that was just a fun little story. I just thought it was funny because I'm like, wow, like all the problems that we thought were like probably this crazy issue that couldn't be fixed, and it was the simplest thing in the goddamn world. Because of course it was.
Yeah, of course it was. After we all played it online and went through like 50 hours.
We basically suffered through lazy
screens.
coding.
Yeah. Oh. Fuck.
And then speaking of dumb shit that happens in online games, fucking FIFA. So
story.
A guy yesterday came out on Twitter and said, well, he basically said like how long it would take. Like, remember when that guy came out and said what it would take for Star Wars to unlock everything? This guy did this for his dream team in FIFA. So he said it was a 100 million coin team. So if it's achievable, because EA said, oh, you can do it. You can do it. Don't worry, guys, you can do it. So he's like, okay. So let's say that I just play games to do it. You get an average of 1,500 coins a game, accounting for weekly rewards. That's about 66,666 games. At an average of 20 minutes a game, that's a mere 22,000 hours of gameplay, or 916 days worth of gameplay 24/7. So that seems realistic. That's like even worse than Star Wars, I think, by a landslide.
Yeah.
Because I think, wasn't it was like 4,000 hours you would need to unlock everything, something around that?
Yeah, Star Wars was only about, I think, 4 or 5.
So you know what? Let's have some extra fun with this. Let's pull out calculator. So let's say, just for the sake of rounding up, let's say 67,000 divided by 4,000. Oops. I didn't want... So, for fuck's sakes. Calculator! Stop! So it's about 16 times worse.
Oh, you could unlock... I think it was Darth Vader in Battlefront for unlocking him or something, too. It was like a big character. You could unlock 16.75 Darth Vaders before you got your dream.
It's bad.
So brutal.
So that's just gameplay wise. So what if you like do the market like what I did in MLB, where I would like play the market and kind of get cards slowly that way? Well, assuming an average of 10,000 coins profit per trade, I need to make a mere 10,000 trades. Assuming I trade 10k every 10 minutes, I would need to trade for 1,650 hours or 69 days of trading 24/7. That's a fucking job. So that's not realistic.
Yeah, that is.
And then if you want to spend the money, spend the money is the fun one. So assuming an average of 100,000 coins per 12,000 FIFA points spended, I need to purchase 1,000 times 12k FIFA points. I know it's complicated. So at a cost of £79.99 per 12,000 coins, he would need to spend £79,990 to get that. So again, let's go pounds.
God.
Let's go Canadian dollars because we're only going to understand that. So what was it again? It was $79.90. Okay, so $140,000.
That's an expensive game.
For our American friends, because I'll be nice.
Were only $79.99.
I'll be nice for our American friends. That's $110,000. So I'm just going to tell you guys, your stimulus package that y'all just got, it's not going to cover this one.
No. In fact, most of your jobs won't cover this one.
So it's pretty simple to say that EA's full of shit. I know. Shocking. I know. Shocking. But they're full of shit. And it gets even funnier when apparently somebody in EA's office was selling cards on their own for a profit.
Yes.
Now, we don't know that it was somebody in their office, but it was probably somebody in their office selling top-end players for over 700 euros a pop. Again, let's pull it out. Or not euros. Was it euros? No, I think it was actually, you know what? I'm going to check the article just to be sure because that's pretty. Yeah, it was euros. So euros to Canadian currency. Good Lord, I can't type.
That's over $1,000, I think.
So 700 minimum. We're looking at over $1,000, and the worst case scenario is about $1,500. That's over $2,000 for one card. I'm sorry.
If you think of the savings, because it would have been $140,000.
I'm sorry. Is Pele in fucking a video game that you'll play for less than 12 months because you'll just get the new one when it comes out? Is it worth $2,000? Oh, you know, I'm bringing out the calculator again. So the game costs $80. So let's assume ours. So let's just assume 22,000 divided by 80. So is it really worth paying 27 and a half times of game, like buying 28 copies of FIFA just for one player? Is it?
Brand new copies.
Is it really? For one player? This is the problem that I continue to have with fucking loot box players who justify this shit. Tell me to every fucking ounce of energy in my body, try to understand. Try to make me understand how the hell that makes sense that you would pay that much money. I don't care how rich you are. If you have that much money, didn't it probably occur to you that you know what a deal looks like?
You could not buy that one character and promise yourself for the next 27.4 years, you can buy FIFA every year, brand new, the day it comes out, and it'll be the same amount of money. You're covered for like almost 28 years of your life buying the new game instead of just one character.
Like, look at this shit. Somebody's working at it, and he's friggin' saying like, oh, how much? So it could be, okay, you get 2 cards, it's 1,000 euros. If you want this and like all that, like, what the fuck? And just telling him this post of like, holy, like, it's literally a thing that can be done. And it's like, holy fuck. It wasn't supposed to be a thing. Like, we all joked. We all joked that this was a thing. We all joked that, oh, somebody's probably buying these cards because there's no way you're pulling these in packs. It's fucking real.
Yeah.
And it just goes to prove our point.
It's crazy.
That we're never going to get rid of this stuff unless it's government regulated. We'll never get rid of it.
No.
Because clearly, somebody was... I keep accidentally hitting the Twitter thing. Somebody was willing to pay over $1,000 for 2 things. I would fucking kill for an extra $1,000 right now. You know what $1,000 could buy me right now? I could almost have a new PC built.
Yeah.
And I say almost because we all know graphics cards right now cost $5,000. So wait, if I can get a hold of some of these cards, I could buy a fucking 3070, man.
Yeah.
It's good logic.
And like the thing is I've seen these games. Like when you have your dream team characters, nothing fucking really different happens in the game. Like you're playing, you see their number.
You can be a little bit better. Like obviously you have some better skill when you're playing online, but you still got to be good at the game.
Yeah. And it's not like graphically something crazy happens. It's like, oh, instead of number 23, I have number 18. Fucking hoorah. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get it.
EA also had the balls to be like, oh, it could have been a compromised account. Fucking shut the hell up.
It was a compromised account.
It was probably fucking Andrew Wilson sitting there being like, that's another bunch of money in my pocket.
It was him for sure.
I'm being sarcastic. I'm not actually like saying that he did that. Don't sue me. But it just goes again to like, guys, I'll say it once and I'll say it again. It doesn't matter whether you buy the loot boxes or not. I'm pretty sure that these odds that were being shown are even bullshit too. I can't say that with any proof, but you can show me odds on a fucking screen and I still won't believe them because I know what happens when I pull packs. I've played Hockey Ultimate Team and NHL for a couple of years. I've played MLB The Show for a couple of years, and I've pulled a lot of packs, both free and actually, did I buy packs ever? I don't think I ever bought packs. So I've pulled a lot of free packs. I've never pulled like a card that I would go, holy shit, I got a good card. I got like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good one. But I've never gone, oh my God. I've never done that in years of playing these games. So I'm willing to bet that 1% doesn't happen. Because I've played gacha games on my phone where it says 4% and you'll pull the rare you want. And I've pulled a bunch of the 4%. So I'm willing to take a bet on that too. But again, these are cards. that have no value. It's not like Steam, like it's not like the what do we call them? Like the like trophy things or whatever, like the trading cards or whatever. Or it's not like skins on CS:GO that you can still sell them. No, it's a card that once you have it is tied to your account. You can't get rid of it, and it will have no value, especially when you buy the next game because you're a sucker too, and you'll spend another $1,000 on that game.
Yeah.
You're wasting money. I'm sorry to say it. I don't care what your reasoning is, but you're wasting money. And you're giving these greedy corporate assholes money. And then these are the same guys that will go on Reddit or Twitter or whatever social media choice they have and bitch about how the game's not being fixed. Well, there's the fucking reason, because some asshole is selling 2 players for €1,000 and people are fucking buying it. That's why we're not getting good sports games, guys.
Yeah.
And sorry, I didn't mean to keep cutting you off. I fucking rant mode here.
No, you're good. I'm right with you on this rant. This is ridiculous.
It just proves everything that we knew. It proved our point.
Yep.
And that's why I'm going to say it. Unless it's a stupid low price or it's free, I'm never buying a sports game until it's fixed. And which means I'll probably never buy a sports game. I'm not counting arcade sports games just so I can make Vish happy if he ever sees this stream. But like the simulation sports games, your Maddens, your FIFAs, your NBA 2Ks, your NHLs, your MLB The Shows, I'm going to just refuse to buy them unless they're cheap. MLB The Show, we're lucky enough, we'll get put on PlayStation Plus usually every year, so I could play it again if I want.
Yeah.
But at this point, there's no sense in buying them because they're not being worked on because they don't have to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's St. Paddy's Day. And for some reason, Vish's thing is off here. Give me 1 sec to turn that off. Oh, God, there's 2 Chris's. Fix that. Okay, we're good.
There's so many of me.
Actually, no. Let's do it. Let's have fun. Maximum chaos. Now you have to stare at yourself twice. It's your long-lost twin.
I knew it.
It's Whiskey and Chris.
It's Whiskey. On mine, there's actually 3 because my own...
yeah, that's true. On the Discord feed, you're going to see 3.
So many of me. It's crazy.
So wait, so then there's Gin and Chris, Whiskey and Chris, and Tequila and Chris. Okay, got it.
Tequila and Chris, yes.
Done.
I like it.
Okay, I'm going to turn that off. That's actually driving me a little bit crazy. But it is St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure that a lot of people are trying to enjoy at least a drink, even though you probably can't go out and enjoy it with people, or at least not a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So, I don't have one, but Chris, do you have like a moment that you can remember when it comes to gaming related to drinking?
Oh, related to drinking. Oh, for sure. I've gone to a couple parties before. Actually, here we go. Here's my favorite. So, there's a college in Ontario, Sheridan College, that I went to for a little bit, dated somebody who went there. My sister even went there. A bunch of people. And Vishal went there.
Sorry, I went there for a year too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went for programming until I was like, I hate programming.
I went there for 1 year as well for media arts, for like television and production.
Yeah. I actually got accepted to go to that, and then I was going to do that as like a prerequisite before getting into actual broadcasting, and then Mohawk College in Hamilton was like, hey, you want to go to broadcasting? I'm like, yes, I do. I don't want to sit around for a year doing nothing.
Exactly, yeah. Well, while I was there was the bar / it kind of was a club or whatever, but it was just like the school bar that turned into a nightclub, I guess, on weekends. It was called The Cage at the time. And they had one night that I was very excited about because it was James Bond night. And the idea was everybody would get dressed up, go to this bar. And I promise this is a video game story. So this happened to also fall on St. Patrick's Day of all days. So it was James Bond, St. Patrick's Day at The Cage. Very huge night back in like 2006 or something ridiculous, long time ago. I show up. I'm wearing like a blazer. I'm like all James Bond out with the red glasses because it's St. Patrick's Day as well. I'm all excited. And then what happens? I find out that somehow, I don't even know how they did it. Oh, I guess they used a projector at the time. They hooked up an N64 with N64's GoldenEye in the club or the bar on one entire wall.
Nice.
So while everybody was dancing or at the bar or whatever, there was somewhere where you could go, because there was clearly an N64, but everybody could see the 4-player action going on. So I spent the first little bit drinking, and then it was, okay, now my mission is to find this N64 and join in on GoldenEye.
You're like, forget whatever the hell I was doing. I got some GoldenEye to play.
Yeah. I abandoned everybody I knew that night. I left. Well, not left. I abandoned them wherever they were at their table. I found the N64, and oddly enough, it was like at a table that they had set up. I guess they wanted everybody to see it. But by the time the night went on, the table kind of ended up a little bit in the dance floor, because it was on the edge, but the dance floor kind of grew throughout the night because they had done all the setup for the N64. It never got adjusted. So it was like in the middle, and that's why I could never find it. But certainly I made it there. I waited my turn, and then when I got there, it was basically, if you die, you're the first person out. I think it was like first place got to stay on, second place also could stay on, but third and fourth, they would have to give up their seat or something. They tried that for a bit, and I stayed in first and second place for like a while before they're like, all right, we got to change the rules. You got to go. Like, you've been here a little too long.
Well, that's because you're using
like,
Odd Job, you cheating son of a bitch.
No, I didn't use Odd Job, but I definitely remember camping where the armor was. So as soon as I got hit for a bit, I'd run back, refill my armor, and then go out and shoot, come back, grab armor. I was not playing very nicely. It was very unfair.
You mean you were playing to win?
I was playing to win for sure.
You're like, fuck this dancing shit. I want to play some GoldenEye.
I'm pretty sure I was Xenia Onatop, or whatever her name is, Famke Janssen.
Yes.
Her character. I was definitely her. I was like, I'm gonna be her. Yeah, that's the only. I do have a lot of other stories, but it's usually just like being at Vishal's in the basement and everybody's drinking, and we start playing like Jackbox games.
Yeah,
or something along those lines.
Like, realistically, like, I can think of that all the time too, where it's like, if there's a game console at a party, I tend to gravitate there. My best story is playing Rock Band, because I used to have the set. So there was one point where I can't remember which rock. I think it might have been Rock Band 2 that this song was in. But the Timmy and the Lords of the Underworld from South Park, that song was in one of the Rock Band games. So randomly,
nice.
I'm playing the drums because I'm like the only one sober enough to be able to play without wrecking the drum kit. So I'm keeping an eye on it because I don't want my fucking kit to get destroyed. The guitars are easier to replace, the drums were not. So
No, they were not.
So I get on, and the one guy goes, "Oh, pick Timmy," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'll play Timmy and the Lords of the Underworld. It's a fucking great song." And all you hear, and this was 100% offensive back then, but the guy literally just went and like, just that's all he sung, and I'm like, wow, and like he was sloshed out of his fucking mind. I'm like, oh boy. Even then, I'm like, oh, that's not comfortable.
Yeah.
But like, just Rock Band in general, I always had a blast with, like, especially because like when you have a bunch of drunk people around you and you're really good at the game, people suddenly really think you're cool, which was like the one time I got to feel cool at a lot of parties.
You're like a Rock Band god.
I hate it though, because I can play Rock Band drums so fucking well on expert, but if you put me in front of a regular drum kit, I can't keep a fucking beat. Apparently it's something about being able to read the buttons that I know exactly where my hands need to go, but as soon as I'm like left with nothing, I can't do it. It's so weird. Like, even if I know the song, like, even if I know the beat, I can't do it. It's so strange.
We have to get you. They have to come out with like a Rocksmith. But
if they had a Rocksmith with fucking electronic drums, I would have that in a heartbeat. I would pull out, like, I don't have savings. I would go further in debt just to play that. Fuck yeah.
That would be a really cool.
I don't know if I could do that in my apartment though. I'm pretty sure the bass pedal would like reverberate on the floor. I have to figure out some way of not doing that.
Yeah.
But I'd figure it out just for that. Fuck yeah. That'd be hell of amazing.
That would be.
Especially if you could convert that into like actually being able to do both, like multiplayer, like being able to have like two separate screens and being able to like have somebody play the guitar and then somebody playing the drums at the same time. That'd be so cool.
Oh.
Like if you could ever put that all together and have like a literal Rock Band, that'd be so cool. But man, like you can't do it with drums because it would be so expensive. You'd make no money off of that game. That's a passion project.
Or the game would cost like $900. Actually, I have no idea how much.
I know, like if you want to get cheapy drum sets, it's like $400. So like,
so the game's like $600.
you're still probably looking at $500 unless they make a really cheap like electronic kit, like a brutally cheap, like you'll break this thing easily kind of kit.
Cool, that's not good. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Which kind of defeats the purpose because I would immediately just play metal music, so I would break it in a week.
Oh, amazing! I would do the same thing, hands down.
Did you ever play those games a lot though, like the Guitar Heroes and Rock Band?
Oh, absolutely. I actually had it where my cousin was visiting from England once, and me and my family and him. So this wasn't even like a house party. It was like all family. We were playing Rock Band, and we actually had the cops show up at our door for a noise complaint.
Nice.
And like it was just Rock Band. Like the only thing happening in the house was Rock Band. But it was enough that our neighbors called the police.
I guess the windows must have been open.
Nope.
No, it was just that loud.
I think it was just that loud, or the neighbors just really hate fun. I don't know. But it was enough that the cops showed up and we're like, what's happening? They're like, where's the house party? It's like, it's just us. We're playing Rock Band. They're like, oh, just try and keep it down, I guess. Like they weren't even mad. They were like, oh no, that makes sense.
I have a love-hate relationship with Guitar Hero. I love the games, but I hate the fact that when I used to teach guitar, I get so many young kids that tried to learn from me because they play Guitar Hero and thought it would be that easy.
Oh yeah, no.
The amount of kids that I got that was like, this is really hard. I'm like, yeah, it's almost like on a normal guitar, there's 21 frets and there's 6 strings. So that's over 120 buttons. It's a little different than 5. So, or sorry, yeah. It got to the point where the new Guitar Hero had 6. They upgraded.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did the weird 3 and 3. To try to mimic like more of a guitar, which I thought was a cool idea, but I thought if you're gonna do that, go all out and do 5, 5, and 5. Like actually, like make use of all fingers. Because the problem is, if it's just 3 and 3, you're just gonna use your main 3 fingers, and people use their pinky a lot when you play a guitar. So,
yeah,
it really did. It really the second I saw that, I went, I have no interest in this because that's not gonna feel like a real guitar at all. That's gonna feel really weird.
Yeah, 3 and 3 would be weird, I think. Because of the pinky. Even just 4 and 4 would have been at least a little different.
Yeah. Because the thing too, like most of rock is power chords, which is like say you put your finger on the 1st fret, the power chord will be the next string on the 3rd fret, and then it will go 2 and 4, 3 and 5. If you only have 3 buttons, you can only do 1 power chord. So rock kind of loses that edge. If you have 5 buttons, you have at least 3 power chords you can do, and that's more than enough to get a decent beat going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But no, so many fucking kids just being like, oh, what made you want to pick up? Oh, I play a little bit of Guitar Hero. I'm like, fuck, I'm getting somebody who's not going to practice much.
Fuck. Red, green, yellow, green, red.
I really wish that Rocksmith had been around earlier because I could have suggested that. Because honestly, like you're not gonna like learn amazingly well, but just by playing Rocksmith. But at the very least, you can learn songs that you want to learn and gradually get used to it. It's also like. You get to play a lot of songs that you know, which gives you an incentive to play more, which means your fingers might get more comfortable, which means you get less calluses, which means you don't get mad every time you play for every 2 minutes and your fingers start to fucking kill. Because that happens to me, because I usually play Rocksmith once every couple of weeks, and every time it happens, my fingers are like, what are you doing to me?
They're so angry. Your fingers are so angry at you.
I mean, it's well deserved. I play a lot of really stupidly hard songs. I'm just like, all right, I haven't played my guitar in 3 weeks. What should I play? Dream Theater. That sounds like a great idea.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Perfect. Just start slow, right? That's just starting slow.
Start slow.
God. Second song, Anything by Dragon Force.
My fingers are like, can't we just start with AC/DC or something? Shit.
Is there like Michael Bolton on here?
I mean, especially with all the modding too. My God, like that's the other thing too with Rocksmith that Guitar Hero never really had because it was never on PC. The modding scene for Rocksmith is amazing. Like I don't know how many songs are on there right now. I'll even check because I think I still have the link saved in here. Yeah, I do. Oh no, they changed the thing. I think it's this now. Okay, how many songs are listed? Will it tell me? It doesn't tell me, but how many pages are there? There are 1,968 pages of songs. And there is a roughly about 25 to 30 per page.
Oh,
Granted,
that's
a lot.
crazy.
Some of them are copies. Some of them are like really like weird out there songs or whatever else. But there's almost 2,000 pages of songs. Not all of them are modded. Some of them are just the official ones that they just say, hey, like these are listed as official ones. But like still, that's a lot of music. Like I found anime themes on there. There's a lot of video game music in there. You can find almost anything you're looking for in there because somebody's made a mod of it. Not everything. Like you're not going to find like some of the really weird stuff you listen to. But like for example, on the first page, Ninja Sex Party is on this list.
That's amazing.
So like if you want to go and do that, there's Black Sabbath, there's King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, there's Cradle of Filth, there's Baby fucking Metal, there's everything. And
Baby
that's
Metal.
like there's a lot of stuff on there. So if you want to learn and there's certain songs that you want to go for that are kind of like your jam, you'll probably find something you want that'll make you want to play it a lot. That's what I like about that series. That's why I keep coming back to it. It's still one of my favorite games ever because I can never get bored of it.
Yeah,
and it also going back to Rock Band and Guitar Hero, it
scratches.
scratches that fucking itch so well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wish I had a house again so I could play my Rock Band set, though. I'm not going to lie. I have my drums still, and I wish I could play them. One of the cymbals is broken, but the other one still works, and it's okay because it was the Guitar Hero drum kit, so it only needs 4 buttons for Rock Band, so it's fine. I could still use all 4. It's just really weird hitting the cymbal, and it's a pad. So one thing I'll say about Guitar Hero that they got right, they put cymbals in. Because the Rock Band drum set is just 4 pads. So if it's a cymbal, it feels weird because you're not actually hitting anything cymbally.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I never played the Guitar Hero version with the drums. And
Yeah,
stuff.
because it had the 5. It had 2 cymbals, so it had the extra. So it really ended up working nicely. I love that drum set. Now the Guitar Hero games kind of started sucking after a while because they were posting them every 6 months. But
yeah,
I was glad when that series died anyway, because I'm like, man, you could only go so far with it until like a Rocksmith exists, and sure enough, Rocksmith wasn't far behind it.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, that wasn't that far behind at all. It was within 10 years for sure.
Because I mean, there's
Like,
2. There was the original,
6.
and then there was the 2014 edition. The original one,
Right, 2014 wasn't the original. Yeah, that was
I
the
want
newer
to
edition.
say that one was like 2011, maybe.
Yeah, 11 or 12. It's definitely one of those 2.
I'm trying to look it up, and it was October 2011.
There you go.
And it's crazy because I'd never heard of that one. I knew about 2014, but I never heard of the original. So
Yeah, I only know the 2014, but it's called the 2014 edition. So definitely, yeah, because I remember it being out before 2014. I do remember it around 2012, I think, is when I first saw it. So that makes sense. That would be a re-release or an update, I guess.
I mean, it was great for me. All I needed was the game because it came already with the cable. And it's crazy because like the cable doesn't exist anywhere. A USB to a guitar cable, they're the only ones that do it. You can't even get like a second party version of it because it's specifically designed by them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's like it's such a rare cord. So it got to the point that like last story before we go off. I had only the PS4 version for a while. And then I finally got the PC copy and I had the cord. And this is when I was still living in another place. And then I moved and it sat in storage for like forever. And then finally, I was like, I'm sure I packed the cord with me. Because there's no way, like I knew I was going to, I brought my guitars with me. Or at least I brought one of my guitars with me. So I figure, okay, I must have brought the cord with me. I'm not dumb enough that I wouldn't have put a Rocksmith cord with me. So, and I couldn't find it for the life of me. So I'm like, fuck, can I not buy the cord separately? Apparently I couldn't. So eventually I got a PS4 copy with the cord just so I could play it again. And then a week later I found the fucking cord.
Oh,
I was so mad. But now I have 2 cords, so if one ever happens to break...
Yeah, I mean that's actually a good idea. It's always good to have 2 of one cord because if one breaks, especially something like this, like you're not.
But it was still frustrating because I'm like, man, I just want to play Rocksmith, and then finally I'm like, screw it. I will draw, like, EB was about to close where I went to. I'm like, I rushed my ass there to try to get that one thing because no other store in Hamilton had one at the time where I was living. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to go out of my way to try to get this cord because I really want to fucking play it. And then literally a week later, I went to all that trouble, and a week later I found it anyway. I'm like, God damn it, I hate myself sometimes.
Was it just in a box?
It must have been buried in something and I just didn't see it the first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For all I know, too,
Yeah,
I
that
can't remember
happens.
the case. It could have been buried in other guitar cables for all I know, and I just never saw the USB part of it. It could have been something like that. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, it would blend. That would blend for sure. You'd have to see the USB part.
But either way,
And if you didn't, yeah, you're not.
I'm
yeah, you're not
usually
seeing it.
pretty smart to put things in places where it's easy to find them. Apparently, that was not one of those times.
You win some, you lose some. And in this case, you won twice because now you have 2 cables.
Yay. Any last thoughts before we go off the air here?
No, I don't think so. It was an interesting news week for sure, and EA just definitely takes the cake.
I imagine for you, it's going to be nice now that this is, knock on wood, the last St. Patrick's Day we ever have in COVID. So,
Oh, next year, hopefully. I know. You know what? It's on a Thursday next year because I'll be disappearing for 2 straight days. Like no one will find me. I will go to a bar, and then 2 days later, I will come home from that bar. But if you go to the bar, you won't even find me. Like I'll be everywhere at every bar, and then.
I mean, you know what? I'll take a second just to get a little pep talk to some people. I know it's March, and I know COVID's still a thing, but it's been 12 months. We made it through 12 months. If you're in the US, Biden's telling you have 2 months left before everybody should be vaccinated. If you're here in Canada, like me and Chris are, you're being told latest is September, and it could be earlier than that once the US starts rolling out vaccines. I'm kind of tired of people complaining that, it's still not, we're still in lockdowns. We're almost there.
Yeah, like it sucks, but I mean, I'm not gonna like hope that they open bars right now. It would be ridiculous. That would be suicidal. Like that would
obviously
be
when it gets warm in the spring, outdoor dining can be a thing again. But like, I don't expect to see like the convention that I usually go to in July. I'm not expecting that. Apparently, sports events are just commonplace. Like WrestleMania is going to happen in April in Florida, and it's going to be a 25,000 cap capacity. To which I'm like, okay, you guys do you, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait an extra month until everybody's vaccinated. Let's just do it right away. Okay, fine. Do you, I guess. But
Yep.
like in terms of all the things that we think to be normal, we're probably looking at next year to be the first full year, which is fine because most of us will have at least like a semblance of normalcy by the summer. And in fact, in some places, it'll be even sooner than that. So to which I say, if it's at worst another 3 to 6 months, you already did 12.
Yeah, it's not that far away. Like it's fine. Especially, yeah, like in spring and summer. Like last year during the summer, to me, the pandemic was nothing. Like
You
yes,
almost didn't
some
know it
things were
existed
still
just
not
because outdoor dining was a thing. So you could go to a
Yeah.
bar and just sit on the patio.
Yeah, and I loved that. I loved that we were actually forced to sit outside because
Now, granted, it was easier for us because the numbers were not over 1,000 cases a day. Because back then it was like 300 was the evil number.
yeah,
Now we're hitting about 1,500 again, but that's also because now that it's been winter, it's easier to spread when it's staying in the air longer. It'll be interesting once things are back out in the open with warm air again. I think that'll be the interesting part. Not to mention, once we get like the elderly covered, it's going to be a lot easier to start rolling it out to people that are actually going to be out in public.
yes.
Because once like everybody
I will
over
feel better.
65 is done, now we start getting people that go to work. Now we get people that start like just walking down the street. Now you start to reduce some of that transmission. Or not transmission, but at least like people dying from it or getting hospitalized. Because we all know like the vaccine is just like a flu shot. You're not going to prevent COVID from being contracted. You just won't get super sick over it.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be like a flu shot.
Which,
You might get a really bad cold some days, but you're not going to fucking go to a hospital.
And that's all we can really hope for and ask for anyways, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like we don't already like I got really sick last October. I got tested for COVID and it wasn't like it turned out to be negative. I went twice, both times negative, but
Yeah, I think I've had 2 separate colds in the span that we've been starting quarantining. So like I've had those moments. But like I know my body enough to know what's COVID because I know if it's just a runny nose like my colds usually are, it's not COVID. It's throat based. So I wasn't nervous about it.
Yeah.
But like obviously the first time you get that like moment of like sickness, you're thinking, what if? And then your brain stops and be like, hey idiot, it's not a fucking it's a cold. Stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Like you get sick, that's gonna happen. It's more just I haven't had to be hospitalized from a cold or flu before.
Yeah, no shit.
And I won't have to do that, which is what I want. Like I don't expect to just not get sick. Here's you're impervious to everything forever. But to not die or have to go to the hospital, that's the main thing.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
And that's what people need to
And the
pay
core
attention
thing too. I mean, obviously, I'll say it. We're gamers. It's easier for us to stay inside. Let's not kid ourselves. We're not the outgoing people that go to the park every day. But
Yeah, the part. Yeah,
we do live in 2021, especially now. With like, and even when 2020, when we had the brunt of it, we did have this thing called the internet to solve that problem. I saw so many people saying, "I can't see anybody." Discord, Messenger, WhatsApp, Zoom, whatever else, like Skype, that existed. It's like, oh, there's nothing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Spotify, fucking Crunchyroll if you're into anime, Crave TV, Apple TV, fucking cable TV.
Yeah, cable's still a thing.
And by the way, it's really hypocritical for a lot of people to say there's nothing to do when a lot of us are going to get back to normal and still spend 8 hours a day on our fucking phone.
Yes.
So there's going to be that part too that's going to be funny. I can't wait to see that part when people are like, oh, I'm so glad I'm going out. Oh man, isn't it so great that we get to do all these things at the bar as they sit there fucking texting everybody else under the fucking sun?
Yeah. Why are
I
you
don't know
texting
what's going to
people
make
you're
me
not with?
madder.
Like, if
People
you're at a bar.
now or people when it's normal and they're still doing the same dumb shit they did before the pandemic? So basically,
Those
it's like,
people after.
yeah, it's going to be the fact that a lot of people just didn't learn anything. I've come to appreciate so much because of this. As weird as it is to say, and you might agree with me on this, I think COVID's the best thing that's happened for me in a long time because it made me take a lot of perspective.
It did wake me up because I was taking a lot of things for granted, and I also was kind of overdoing it in other areas, and this has taught me things I actually miss and how I want to do those things, and it makes me appreciate them. But it's also taught me about being home, being present more, and a bunch of other things that I didn't know. Like, I did one thing a while ago where I actually removed from my phone all apps that are distracting or entertainment based. I have my social, like my texting, on there, but then every other app on there is my day. Like, I use my phone as a day planner, like my calendar, my notes, my tasks, or whatever it's called, like reminders, that stuff. I mean, I have Spotify on there because who doesn't listen to music? But
Yeah,
that's fine.
but we're talking
But-
like we're not sitting like you're not the person that's sitting there on Facebook with that for every 6
Yep.
hours just constantly scrolling that feed that never ends.
No Facebook, no Twitter, nothing like that on my phone.
Side
My
note,
phone.
taking Facebook off, like never being on Facebook ever again, and I've done it for over a year now, is the best decision I ever made.
Oh yeah, I stopped a long time ago. I have the app somewhere, but that's mostly just because when Vishal has like an event, he'll create a Facebook event for it. So I have it to get the notification that there's an event happening. That's it. It's the only reason the app exists somewhere for me. I don't even.
I
actually
literally
remember
now
where
just
it
use
is.
Facebook to post when I'm streaming. That's basically what Facebook is to me now. It's like my side Twitter.
Yeah, your side Twitter.
and I wouldn't use Twitter if I didn't use it for my news gathering. And honestly,
yeah,
like that's really all it is to me. Facebook is literally just miles of look what I did today, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care.
yeah.
Or most people
No,
trying to
Twitter
post
is a very good tool.
like memes and politics shit where I'm just like I can't anymore.
Oh yeah, no. I find something like Twitter to be a very, very good tool, especially news, that kind of stuff.
Because you can also
just
control
found that-
what you follow, so you could literally
Exactly.
only follow news accounts, so it's fine.
Yeah, you create your own feed. And I just found though that like certain things like Twitter, my video game news, all that kind of stuff, I just found myself getting lost in it. So I actually moved it to a different device on an iPad, because you're not going to carry around an iPad all day. You'll open it, you'll check your news, you'll do your stuff, you'll put it down and walk away. Same as like a laptop. So I've been learning to be more present because of the pandemic.
I'm
Like,
also
it's been
fortunate
teaching
too that I'm not susceptible to these things as easily. Like I'm not the guy who's going to sit there on his phone. Like, because to me, if I could, I'd still be using flip phones because I don't think these are that important.
I miss flip phones because I think that just being able to text somebody and call them is all we really needed.
Like realistically, I'll use the Lewis Black joke. I'm gonna butcher the verbatim like that joke that he did, but he's like, when I use my phone, all I really need to do is to be like, I will meet you and Bob at the Hooters for a fresh batch of chips. Suck my cock, lol, smiley face.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's really all you need the phone for.
And yet there's all these people, like, it's the same thing. Like, I don't have a problem with the mobile game market, just to sort of tie it back to video games. But Jesus Christ, the mobile market is such a cash cow and such just disgusting industry that preys upon people.
Oh yeah.
So I don't really agree
100%.
either that people that spend their days like playing games either. And this is coming from a gamer, but I don't think the phone games are really like that healthy. Like some of them are just nice casual games you pop in for 5 minutes and you're good. But there are people that spend hours and hours and hours. It was the same with Facebook back in the day when everybody was on Farmville for fucking ever.
Yeah. They're more an addiction than a game. It's pretty crazy. Like I have no problem if somebody's like, "Oh, I bought Final Fantasy 1 on my phone because I'm at work and I get bored," and it's like I want to play the game. Yeah, that's a game. It has an ending.
That's perfectly fine because Final Fantasy 1 is not charging you 99 cents to advance to the next level, or else you have to see an advertisement.
Yeah, it's just you bought the game. It was $15 or whatever phone games go for. I actually have
You're basically using like a Game Boy.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. But as soon as it's like a slot machine and like you have to buy real money and
oh man, don't get me started on casinos, on anything that isn't a casino. If you are playing a casino game and you're not at a casino, something's wrong. Yeah. That's the intervention sign right there. That includes the people that were back in the day and probably still do, were adamantly playing PokerStars.net all the time. That kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I never understood it.
Yeah, it's brutal. That's just addiction. That's not good.
So it's like, I love AEW, like All Elite Wrestling. I love them, but they have a casino game, and I'm like, fuck you guys.
Oh, they do? Oh,
yeah,
I
they
didn't
do.
know that.
Now, they basically just got some company to just put their logo on it. It's basically a copy and paste, so it's nothing special, but it's still like, wow, guys, like your name is attached to a fucking gambling addiction game. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's not cool. No, I don't like that.
But I mean, going all the way back to COVID, I mean, the biggest thing, honestly, for me is that it made me realize like how important everything else was, to stop worrying about so much random shit. Now, granted, I know that's kind of almost hypocritical coming from a guy who's like yelling about video game news some days. But like the amount of time that I would spend freaking out about the most minute shit when about like 2-3 years ago, especially. Oh my God. Like I can't understand how that person existed then. Because I would look at every story and suddenly get so mad or so like emotionally attached to it. And I realized like, holy shit, I do understand that there's this thing called reality going on that I can see with my own two eyes that I should probably be focusing on. Not something that's happening somewhere across the fucking country, across borders, across oceans, that doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man, on that.
I could spend a whole podcast talking about shit we shouldn't be focusing on. Good Lord. Celebrities, the fucking royal family, except for this one racism thing, that's a whole different story. That's a fucking different ballgame.
That's a different ballgame.
A lot of sports stuff. I think people are way too tied to that stuff. Like, there's so many things out there where just people are so emotionally invested into that over their own lives, and it's kind of weird.
It is weird, like, and it's definitely social media and stuff that's caused this.
Yeah, social media didn't help it either. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, you'd have the news or magazines, but they came out, news was daily, magazines were like monthly, maybe weekly. So you'd have your moment, but then you'd put your magazine down, and then you'd go out, and the only thing you saw was your reality in front of you. But now you take, say, your phone, and this other reality within social media is always with you. It's just people aren't people anymore. It's crazy.
And as we've proven, humans are easily addicted.
Yeah.
We're basically getting kids addicted before they even know what addiction is.
Yeah, it's
because we're getting them addicted to Twitter, to TikTok, or to Instagram, or Snapchat, or whatever the thing is, whatever the next craze is.
Yep.
And it's sad because it's no wonder why, you know. And I make the joke like when everybody's like, "Oh man, we'll you know, like with climate change, for example, like, oh, we'll be, you know, we'll have to worry about stuff by like 2049." I'm like, that's adorable that you guys think we'll even be a civilization by then.
Yeah, no.
Because like
zombies hooked into machines.
We're already pretty screwed in our generation. I can't imagine people who are just being born now what they're about to get into once they graduate high school. Good fucking Lord.
Yeah.
Like my niece, for example, Vish's niece, like I can't imagine what they're going to walk into as soon as they graduate high school and have to be an adult. If there even is anything to see by then.
No. Zombies. Definitely zombies.
Can I just put my brain in a jar, or like put my head in a jar like it's Futurama? Can I just get ahead of that game right now?
Yes. Let's do that.
Okay, this is the VCR Podcast, episode 16,424. I'm the head of this podcast, CS.
The head of wow. That's a good one. Oh, I like it. I like it.
But no, I can't wait to probably at this rate, probably around like late April, May, that we can start going to the patio again at the bar and just kind of shooting the shit again like we used to.
Yes.
I don't know how
100%.
long
As
it'll
soon
be
as
before
that
like
starts
podcast
happening-
days or like live days. I think the plan, I guess to pull the curtain back for a moment, is that maybe down the road, if we're able to see each other normally again, I'll probably still be here as the host because I'm the one with the streaming connection, so I might want to be wired in. But then you and Vish might be in like your own spot together. That's been something we've been
Yeah, I
talking
think
about for a
some
while.
days we'll do it. Yeah, I think some days I'll still be at home, and then just because now that I'm moving closer.
Yeah,
and
now that
everything,
you're
it's
close
not
to the bar, you don't need to. If you were still way out where you were and having to make the hour drive, not to mention we do the podcast at 9 o'clock. I don't think bars are going to be a thing that we do anymore on this podcast.
No, if we start at 9 and we finish at 11, we're probably not going to the bar on the Wednesday.
So
or
that
on podcast.
and I don't know if I can count on you guys to be ready for 7. So
I mean, you could probably rely on me a little bit more than Views Vishal's because he.
Isn't it great when he's not here? Because now we can just talk trash about. Like, you know what? I know that we should have ended this show about 15 minutes ago, but this is now the Trash Vishal podcast for the next 2 hours. No, I'm just kidding. But I can't wait for what normal. I know that normal is probably never coming back. I know that probably for the rest of my life, or at least for a considerable amount of time, if I ever feel sick, I'm probably putting a mask on wherever I go. Which is not a bad thing. That's actually a pretty good strategy that we all probably should have been doing before that we never thought about. But we certainly know now.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm used to the mask thing. Like I like it's become a fashion thing. People buy masks that look a certain way and they're made by certain companies.
I just want, yeah, that's the other thing too. I hope that more companies get on masks. The fact that no gaming company has really stepped out and tried to make some funky fucking masks is amazing to me. If I'm Sony or if I'm Nintendo, I'd be on that shit. Holy hell.
My mask is actually Square Enix, but it's Square Enix has Square Enix members. Like when you buy Square games, you get points. I got notified that they had updated the point system, and I was like, I have points? Like I totally forgot that every time I bought a game and signed in, it gave me some points. I had enough points that I actually got a Square Enix water bottle, which I use for the gym because it's perfect for that, and a Square Enix mask, and I've been using it the entire pandemic.
I'm not talking though like a logo on it. I'm talking something funky. I'm talking like I'm talking like a cactar face on your fucking mask or something.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
Or like
I think it's only like independent people who've made that.
And that's the thing. Like the fact that no one in 12 months has stepped up from the gaming community is kind of shocking, actually. That it's only third party. Yeah. Like you figure by now that with how long we've been needing masks, like somebody would have been like, "Man, this is a market we can hit right now."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they could have loot boxed that shit.
like
open a pack and you want to go mask.
Like Overwatch with just all the logos that they have. You can make Diva masks, you can make Tracer masks. Like you could do that easy.
That's true.
There's so many options. I don't know. We could go on forever, but I think I'm going to shut this thing off before we have another 30-minute tangent. So, but yeah, we're getting close to the end of COVID, guys. Just hang in there. Play a couple more games. Just fucking play. I don't know. Go play Skyrim again. You'll probably last another month.
Yeah.
So with that being said, thank you so much for checking out the VCR podcast. I don't think I'm going to post the audio version of this because there were so many problems. Not to mention I muted myself, so it's going to sound really weird when there's no audio. So it might just be the video version. So this will be on YouTube if anybody's watching that. Obviously, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm on Twitch now properly more than just one day a week. Right now, the schedule is looking to be Wednesdays for here on the podcast, Fridays, Sundays, and Mondays. So I'm just starting to do a little bit more now. Chris, you now that I'm getting the bug, you should get on the bug too. You should get back into this stuff. But then again, you kind of need to have your new place before that. So I guess you're a ways away from that.
That's once I'm in the new place. Yeah,
what's the official date, by the way?
May 14th.
So we're getting there.
Oh yeah, it's just past the 2-month mark, and I'm already planning out the entire game area, including what light will be behind me. Where
you're probably looking in my room right now, being like, I have so many ideas because of this.
Oh yeah. Oh, I absolutely have taken some of your ideas. No, I like the lighting. Yes, because I already have the Philips Hue behind my monitor, and I immediately was like, "Yep, I'm gonna add more Philips Hue or whatever."
I'm at the point now that I don't think I could ever buy a normal light bulb again. I'd rather just get the RGB bulbs.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're fantastic.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's twitch.tv/csradical. Obviously, when Chris gets back into the swing of things, we'll plug him too. Otherwise, the only other plug that I really need is that Tuesday, starting at 7 p.m. Is it 7 or 8? Shit. 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. I'll be streaming because it's my other podcast, the Pixel Play Podcast 10th episode. So we're going to stream that one live, test and see how that goes. And then we'll see what we do from there on forward. That'll be on twitch.tv/csradical as well. But otherwise, next time I'll see you guys on this channel. It'll be Friday, either 7 or 8, depending on what time I start, because that's laundry day. It could be 7:30. I don't fucking know. I'll probably end up playing more Saints Row, but I do really want to get into Noita. That I really want to try out, because I've heard a lot of good things about that game.
Yeah, man. And guys, give Adam a watch, because I watched a bit today, and it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Except when I play Enter the Gungeon, because I'm garbage at it, apparently.
That's when I watched It's Fantastic. Only watch when he plays Enter the Gungeon. It's fun.
Damn it. All right. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We are 2 away from episode 69 now. So we'll see you at 68. And hopefully we'll have 3 people at all times, because tech issues and sick issues aside, this has been a great show. But then again, 67 is a bad number if you live in the greater Toronto area like we do. And for Maple Leafs fans, yeah, it does make us sick to our stomachs a little bit. So maybe that's why.
It makes sense now.
So with that being said, one more time, because I'm always terrible at ending shows. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Cheers.